Okay, this is my part 2 of Roe V Wade, and I'm just gonna tell like a couple really quick stories. The first one is about an acquaintance of mine who I met like in the local addiction recovery community. We would see each other like once a month, once or twice a month, like in the waiting room of a doctor's office or of a therapist's office, and just kind of like shoot the shit once a month. And we never talked on the phone or anything like that. We were just like acquaintances, and we had the same like doctor schedule, and we were both kind of on similar paths. And when I saw her for the last time, it was I guess about two months ago. It was a few weeks or maybe a month before the Supreme Court overturned Roe V Wade, and she just seemed off, and when we were like alone for a second, she said, I think I'm pregnant. And she said she didn't know what to do, and she wanted to be a good mom and to like break, these cycles of poverty and kind of, I guess, like, like a lot of generational issues and stuff like that, and kind of be a better mom than what she had. And this is what she told me. But that she didn't know what to do because she didn't know if she should have it or not. She didn't know if she was in a position financially, emotionally, and otherwise to really be the mom that she wanted to be and needed to be to break the cycles that she wanted to break, right? And this is what she was telling me, and she said she didn't know what to do. And so I just gave her my 2 cents, which was, I told her, if you decide to have the baby, when I had my youngest daughter, and she's my last child, I got my tubes tied. I said, I could not have been closer to having an abortion. I scheduled an appointment, and it took like months to schedule an appointment because at the time, I was like, I had like a brand new part-time minimum wage job. I felt lucky and like blessed literally to have this shitty job. And I didn't have a home. I had like nothing else. I was just getting back on my feet, and really, a few months into my like long-term sobriety, I was still like drinking and stuff, and I was like trying to really get it together. I knew after I was almost killed that I was really going to give life and give myself a shot. I was not going to die, knowing in my heart of hearts that I had not really tried. But I was telling her, that this pregnancy with my daughter was like the worst timing. I tried to schedule an abortion, and they said, oh, okay, well, you have Medicaid, because I was like literally living in poverty. I was still staying with a friend on their couch. Like I had nothing. And so there was no way I was going to have this child. And it turns out that if you have Medicaid in the state of West Virginia, that they do not cover the cost of an abortion. You have to call, there's 1-800 number in America that helps you do like fundraising. And you literally have to dial a number like 100 times. There's like crazy fireworks going off outside or something. But anyway, the point is like I had to call this number like 100 times, maybe more, for like weeks. I had to try to call this number, and it was one number, and every woman that was in my position that didn't have the means to have a child was trying to get through with this social worker on this one number. I finally got a hold of somebody. There was like all this fundraising, because you have to raise hundreds of dollars out of pocket, because Medicaid is not taken in the state of West Virginia anymore. In addition to a 6-hour drive, gas money, works, working around my work schedule, all that stuff. I couldn't do it. It was like going to break me, but I did it. I drove, like I said, it was like a 6-hour drive. I got down there. I was waiting for the doctor to come in and do the procedure. And what kept eating at me and made me change my mind and have my daughter is that I knew I was going to give myself a shot. I knew I was going to give life a shot. And like I said, I was still getting high and drinking sporadically. And, you know, who knows what would have happened if I would have continued to, you know, not get in this Suboxone program and stuff. But I knew something was going to change and that I was really going to give life a shot. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. If I didn't know if I was going to be able to live, but I was going to try. And, you know, it's like, wow, okay, I'm pregnant. I'm waiting, you know, on this doctor to come and perform an abortion. Like I'm, you know, in the room just waiting for him to come in. I already done my intake paperwork and everything. But, you know, I couldn't let it, for me personally at that time, I couldn't let it, an inconvenience, like bad timing be the reason, you know, because I knew I was changing in significant ways. And so I left the doctor's office. I wasted like a whole tank of gas, and there was like plus all these crazy tolls. And I'm so, so grateful every day that I had my daughter. I told her that story. And I also told her the other story. Years and years ago, I was an addict, and I was pregnant, and it was the same thing. I was like, there's no way I can have this child. But at that time, the first time I, you know, dealt with like an abortion clinic, I knew it was, there was no way I could have a child. And I scheduled an abortion and had the procedure done. And the first time, Medicaid paid for it. I still had to lie to get a ride. I didn't even have the gas money when I had an abortion. I don't even know if I had a car. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I couldn't afford the gas money either way. Like I was destitute. And there was no way I was having a child. And I told her, as much as I am so grateful that I made the right decision and had my daughter, I am literally grateful, and I don't care if that sounds callous or I don't mean it to be, it's the truth. I'm grateful that I made the decision to have an abortion the first time. I made the right decision both times. There were different decisions, and I really dug deep in my heart and, you know, made the tough decisions both times. They were both difficult decisions in their own way, and I am absolutely grateful that I made the right decisions both times. And I told her those stories, and I said, you know, if you decide that you want to, you know, be the mother like you didn't have or whatever, then it will work out. If you decide to have this baby, it will work out. People are always, you know, having hand-me-downs. I have hand-me-downs, you know, too. It'll work out, you know. WIC and food stamps, there are services that will help you. And if you decide that now is not the right time, you know what? Don't listen to anybody. Everybody's going to have something to say. And every single person, this is what I told her, every single person that is judging you and saying, oh, that's, you know, abortion is wrong. None of those people, capital NONE, not a single one of those people is going to be there for you at midnight when you need diapers, or you're out of formula, or you are just alone and crying with a screaming inconsolable baby. None of those people who have something to say about abortion being wrong and you know, nobody's going to be there for you. So you will be alone either way. You'll have the help. It will work out if you decide to, and if not, then, you know, just, you know, it's the right decision. If it's not the time, then you know you've made the right decision. If you decide, whatever you decide, it's going to be the right decision. And we had this conversation in the doctor's office, and a few weeks later, the Supreme Court overturned Roe V Wade, and I have not seen her since. I don't know. I have no idea what she's doing. Like I said, I met her in the recovery community, like the local drug recovery community, and that's how we knew each other. We never talked on the phone, and I have thought about her like literally almost every single day, and that's what makes me so frustrated. It always made me so frustrated about about conservatives, Republicans, pro-lifers, whatever you want to call them, which I'm 100% pro-life. I'm pro the mother's life. You know, none of those, no people that are pro-life. It's so, it just seems so cold. It's so flippant, the argument. Oh, well, should have thought twice. Well, guess you shouldn't have put yourself in that position, huh? Guess you should have had him wear a condom. I guess you should have done this. I guess you should have done that. Oh, well, screw you. That's kind of the attitude it is a lot of times. It's like, oh, should have thought twice. You know what? If you're not going to say, hey, here's my number, here's my checkbook, let me help you with this child. If you're not in that position, which, not a single person is, willing to help a stranger who's in a tough shot, it's going to be that woman and that woman alone raising a decision. And to say, oh, well, you should have thought twice, shouldn't you? Shouldn't have put yourself in that position. Like, why do we have to be so cold? Okay, why do you have to have such a cold attitude about it? Like, yeah, no, every single person in the history of the world that has made a wrong decision, yeah, I guess they should have made a different decision, huh? Wouldn't it be nice if nobody ever made mistakes, if nobody ever had to make horribly tough decisions? Wouldn't that be nice? But we've all made mistakes. We have all, we all have. And the attitude of just like, oh, well, should have thought about that. That's cold, and that's not it, at all. So that's the hypocrisy and the judgment and just kind of the ignorance and the callous condemnation of pro-lifers was really like off-putting. And now that I have kind of had this like reawakening, July 19th, I made a video. I didn't upload it because I got interrupted by my daughter. Actually, that's why I do these in the bathroom. I have to just like cram out like 10 to 15 minutes if I want to do a video. But, I made a video on July 19th. It was 4 years to the day of when I was almost killed. And that was a real, like I said, eye-opening experience, because I knew when I left the hospital that I was, not going to have another shot. If I had every ramification of addiction, prison for over a year, homeless for over a year, a sex worker, like a street prostitute, full-blown IV heroin addict. I almost killed myself through dirty, like, IV needle practices. I gave myself MRSA. I almost died. I was, like, literally so close to open heart surgery. I became septic. I was on life support. These incredibly toxic, addiction-fueled relationships. This one's almost cost me my life. Once you're homeless and living on the streets and selling your body day in and day out, and if you sell your body, you're selling your soul. At least when you're a street prostitute, you are. And that's just the way it is. That's how every sex worker that I ever met felt. Yeah, like high-class escorts, fancy strippers, people that are just like truly making thousands of dollars and don't have addiction or any other like comorbidities. Yeah, it's probably a different scenario, but anybody that says, oh yes, like street prostitution, sex work, that's like somehow pro-woman, that is not true. That's a bullshit lie, or it's ignorance, because it's not. If you're selling your body on a street corner, that is an act of desperation. And every woman that I ever met, myself included, was very much broken and very much in desperate need of help that was not coming. So yeah, there was nothing like sex positive. There was nothing liberating or feminist. It was not. It was not good. So yeah, I came from that, and I knew like there was. I was going to die again. I had too many close calls, too many major overdoses, too much, and I don't even know where I was going with this, but when I really decided to give life a shot, I was going to give it my all, and I had not done that. I had gone through the motions of life my entire life. I was in my mid-30s, but I had never really asked myself, what do I want to do? Who the hell am I? Never asked myself those questions. I was like, oh, I'll get good grades because I'm expected to. I'll go to college because, I'm expected to. and then it was like, I'll be a drug addict because I can't, I just couldn't do a 9 to 5. I couldn't, it wasn't for me, but at the same time, I didn't get to know me, and I didn't love myself, so I couldn't get to know me, to figure out what I wanted to do if it wasn't some type of 9 to 5 job. And so anyway, when I decided to give myself a shot, it really started with self-love, and authenticity. And once I started to really like live from the heart, truly, just, radical self-acceptance, loving myself, understanding to my core what it meant to be worthy of life. And we are all worthy of life. And every single addict, I do not believe that there is an addict on this planet who loves themselves, because when you're happy, relatively happy, of course life happens, but when you're happy, you do not have to escape. You do not feel the desperate need to escape. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and desperate people call for desperate times. And addicts are desperate. So I had to get to the root cause to get sober of what led me to use in the first place. Why did I feel the need to punish myself? And why did I hate myself so much? How do I get over that? And so once I began to love myself, and live this life of authenticity, I just could not have, to the best of my ability, I couldn't buy into the bullshit, period. Like, I started to eat different because I loved myself, but also because, like, man, this processed food is garbage. Our bodies don't even like it. We just conditioned ourselves because of, the FDA is bullshit. Like, all these systems are trash, all of them. So I really was like, wow, I cannot support, like I said, I was never a Christian. It was never for me, but for most people, and myself included, growing up, it was like one of two things. You're either going to, worship politics, or you're going to worship God, or both. And, God never spoke to me, honestly, not through Christianity, not through organized religion, not through Catholicism. But I was like really into politics for a long time. Like, I honestly thought, and this is kind of like embarrassing, but I honestly thought I was like hot shit. I thought I was like so sophisticated because I used to watch like Meet the Press on my own accord in the 9th grade. Like, on Sunday mornings, I would watch Meet the Press, and I'd be like, huh, look at me, I'm so worldly. And this was like in 1999, before the internet. So anyway, I was like, had really bought into the fact that, I had been taught, well, you're either going to be a Republican or a Democrat. And if you're a Democrat, then you're on the side of the good guys. And like, I was like, man, I'm one of the good guys. And it really tells you how brainwashed we are that, my God, I live in Appalachia. I mean, Appalachia was directly targeted for hillbilly heroin, for Oxycontin. And I know what it was like the first time I did an Oxy 80. I remember that day more than I remember losing my virginity. I remember that feeling more than I remember my first kiss, more than I remember having my daughter. Do you understand that? Like, how potent that is? Like, to have all that dope in that tiny little pill. My dog's like going crazy. Hang on, Echo. But I remember, like, Oxy 80 was like, I mean, it was like a religious experience. And every single addict who was doing pills, like when 80s came around, I mean, it was like, that's the heroin that never made it to the mountains, the hillbilly heroin. At that time, I mean, it was like, at once I was lost, but now I'm found. Oxy, like, hit me like a fucking freight train. And I was in love. And so anyway, I my God, myself and everyone I knew was affected. by government fuckery, you know, by the FDA or whoever the fuck, working hand in hand with the Sackler family or, you know, their company or whatever, just funneling these pills into these dying, tiny, desperate communities that have been ravaged by poverty and generational poverty and job loss, and just kicking communities all through Appalachia, kicking them when they're down, and then being like, oh, here's a pill to make it better. And so it's like, you know, you profit off the pills that you're funneling into these communities, and then you're profiting off a for-profit prison, you know. And I got my DOC number, you know, I had my name turned into a number, right? I mean, in for-profit prison, nobody's going to convince me that's not modern day fucking American slavery. Period, point blank. How is it not? You know, the vast majority of criminals are nonviolent offenders, myself included, non-violent drug offenders. But, and all the women almost I was locked up with were in there for nonviolent crimes, the vast majority of them. So, I mean, my God, I'm a product of the system, but yet I had still bought into it so deeply that it took me being almost killed to be like, wait a second, these people are full of shit. And just like, I would get so mad at Republicans, conservative pro-lifers for being like, oh, you know, well, should have had him wear a condom, should have thought different, blah, 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 like that type of callous response. I feel it is 100,000% just as disingenuous when now a so-called, you know, my body, my choice, blue no matter who, all up in arms Democrat over Roe V Wade, you know, it is absolutely 100% just as phony. Because you know what, I'm telling you, I'm a woman living in poverty right now. I've been sober going on 4 years, and I'm still living below the poverty line because that's how big of a hole I had dug for myself. And you know, I feel like so blessed to have what I have, first and foremost, my life. But the point is, you know, I'm a woman in poverty, in a red state, okay, and I'm a liberal-minded woman. I'm the type of woman, although I've had my tubes tied, who is going to be affected by this, okay? By the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. And so I know for a fact that if you were, you know, if you care now, what did you think it was like before the Supreme Court overturned it? For women living in poverty in red states, for women who do not have the means in whatever capacity to have a child, and they find themselves with an unwanted pregnancy in a red state, what did you think it was like before Roe v. Wade? And that's a real question. Like, I want people to be like, damn, did I ever consider what it was like? Because just because the Supreme Court was like forcing conservative states to, you know, have like, you know, one abortion clinic like in the whole state or whatever, because the Supreme Court was kind of just like, you know, I don't know, it's like the Supreme Court didn't want it, and the red states didn't want women to have choices. So what did you think it was like? Because I'm telling you, if you find yourself in a situation where you can't afford to take care of a child, if you're living in poverty, then an unexpected tank of gas could very well make or break you, you know. And for me, before Roe v. Wade was overturned, you still had to drive 6 hours plus tolls if you had a running car, you know, if you even had transportation. Oh, and Medicaid didn't cover it. You know, before one or whatever abortion clinic in West Virginia closed down, Medicaid didn't even take. You couldn't pay for an abortion with Medicaid, but you need to basically be poor to have Medicaid. So it was some fuckery before the Supreme Court overturned it. And I just don't understand how people can act like they are so up in arms, but yet at the same time have never even thought, damn, was this sufficient? Okay. And that's why I got so mad in the first video, because it's not up to Republicans to not follow through on what they want to do. It is up to Democrats and Democrat politicians to follow through on their promises, and it is up to us to be like, wait a second, you're not following through, unacceptable, period, point blank, unacceptable. Okay, that's the way we have to be. Is as soon as we start, oh, tomorrow's a new thing, in 6 months from now, we're not going to be talking about abortion. It might be another war, it might be another virus, it might be this. It's the same people at the helm every single motherfucking time, profiting off these issues every single motherfucking time. And it's about time we start holding their feet to the fire, okay? Because we're never going to get our rights, abortion rights, from Republicans. Never. Why are we worried about them? All we have to worry about is so-called allegedly progressive politicians following through on their promises. And I have a question. This might be just like my blatant ignorance. I don't know if it's just I'm missing something, or maybe I'm not understanding like the laws or something. I tried to Google the answer. I couldn't really find an answer. But my question is, what is stopping Biden right now from signing an executive order solidifying women's reproductive rights into law? Why can't we have it like Europe does right this second? I know he signed, 60 some executive orders day one, and there was like literally a video of him being like, oh, what am I signing? He didn't even fucking know he was signing so much shit. I saw that video. But I'm going to wrap this up. It's already going on 30 minutes. I'm trying to talk fast. But if somebody could like answer that, first of all, if you care about abortion rights, think about it. Why didn't you care before? Because it was insufficient before. We might as well, in red states, a lot of us, it was already basically like we didn't have rights. If I have to cross the border to go to an abortion clinic, I might as well have been having to cross the border before, because you got to pay out of pocket for the services, and it took hours upon driving with gas money, toll money, a car that's legal. All that shit was so difficult. And so what are we like really talking about here? And why didn't people care? And why are we not holding the right people accountable? And what is stopping Biden right now from giving us the same rights as Europe? Why can't we have these rights? I mean, okay, we don't have them in the past. The past is in the past. Right now, what's wrong? Why do we got to vote for these motherfuckers when they're already in office, not doing a motherfucking thing except pretending to be arrested? My God, what jokes. Oh, Lord, help me. Look, I'm getting flustered. Like, I'm really getting flushed. And that's, in summary, I really wish I had to do a part 2, and I had to wrap it up, and I had to ask these questions and tell a part 2, like, side to Roe V Wade. And I said I was going to do a part 2, but really, my goal in life is to just live authentically, live a fact and compassion based life. I want to live as organically as possible and authentically as possible. And my bottom line is to be like above the government, just to be ungovernable, not like, doing this. I just want to say, fuck the system altogether and just take care of me, myself, and I, and hopefully, make a difference as far out as I can in my community, and as far as that extends, but I just don't really want to, I don't have the time or the energy. And my first reaction to Roe v. Wade, that was just me kind of reverting back to old habits, because I am brainwashed. We all have been brainwashed. And like my first video, when I kept saying, are we fucking dumb? And I'm asking now, like, why aren't we holding the right people accountable? Why aren't we holding Democrats accountable? What's stopping Joe Biden or anybody? I mean, even if all they could do, if executive order for some reason is off the table, why couldn't he at least pressure the Supreme Court or something? Like, what's going on? These fucking theatrics of like pretending to get arrested, pretending to care, like, oh, this is unacceptable. Well, then fucking do something about it. You're sitting in DC, bitch. But this vitriol that I have towards politicians, that's really just a sign that I still have unlearning to do. I kept asking, like, are we stupid? And it's not that we're stupid. I mean, some people are stupid, of course, and some people are going to die with their head buried as far in the sand as they can possibly get it. Some people would rather be, comfortable than free. But a lot of people, like myself, are just brainwashed. We're ignorant, because at this point, I mean, if you're still like thinking there's sides and you're on a good side, and these terms, Republican, Democrat, if you think they mean anything, like, I don't know how after everything that's been going on since 2020, I don't know how anybody is still like honestly thinking that there is like a good side to be on. You know, I don't know why we are not still holding these people like, or starting to hold these people accountable more. And so my position is just to be like ungovernable. You know, I want to grow a garden one day. I want to do a lot of things where I just don't even give a fuck about a system that doesn't give a fuck about me. You know, and I just want to live life from an authentic, compassion-based perspective. And I really hope, in summary, that my acquaintance from the doctor's office, I think about her every day. You know, and that's one anecdote. There are so many people like that. I'm so lucky that I had my eyes open, and you know, am not going to be in a position anymore. I'm lucky enough to say that I'm not going to ever going to have to worry about an unwanted pregnancy, you know. But it's so easy when you have, you know, poverty and just life happens, and it's so easy to end up in a position where there are no good answers and there are no easy answers. And so all I can do, and all really any of us can do, is just try to avoid that position. Because if you're dependent on the government, or if you're having to wait for the government to help you, good luck with that, because they don't give a fuck. So anyway, talk to y'all later.